right, time for the bottom 10 review. It'll be interesting to see how long this section goes because we either could spend 30 seconds on each team or 10 minutes, but we'll try and not make it too long as we do have things to get done on our Monday nights. So we'll go from 18th down to 9th. So starting with the Kangaroos. Rowie, I'll start with you, mate. What did you make of their season and who are your award winners?
Yeah, we'll try and keep this obviously quick, but everyone sort of set out for them to fail. And their first half of the year wasn't blinding. We'll keep it at that. But obviously their run home was really, really promising. They unearthed a lot of talent. And if you consider the season as a whole, I think Kangaroo fans will be pretty happy with it. We can leave what happened in the first half of the year just in the past because I think that was as bad as it was gonna get. And hopefully, for the careers of this club, the players for this club, they probably won't see darker days than that. So it was really good to finish off the way they did because they were really competitive in a lot of games and provided some really good viewings. So B&F for me, there was actually a few to pick from here. In the middle, one guy that was really consistent all year was Jai Simkin, so I'll probably have to go with him. He didn't actually, he wasn't my first thought, but after I looked through a few of the stats and everything, he was really consistent in there and probably didn't get a lot of light shown on him. I think a lot of it was more other ends of the ground. But for that reason, I'm going to go Simkin. I think it was really solid for them. Most improved was my man, Aaron Hall. Brody hates this man, but I think he's one of the best kicks in the comp. I didn't actually realise he's 30. He's a lot older than I thought he was. So it's a bit odd giving a most improved to a 30-year-old. But he's obviously an absolute gun of a half-back in the competition now. He's obviously quick, tacks the ball well, moves up the ground and absolutely delivers it to players on a platter. So definitely got to give it on to Aaron Hall. He's always had the talent, but couldn't quite find the right position for him or get the consistency. Best young player, this was tough. I was talking before the potty with these boys who we have in a few of the segments here, and this one was actually a four-way tie between Taryn, LDU, Big Suv, and Zerha. Probably it's very hard to narrow this one down, but I reckon based on potential and everything else, I'm going to give this to Taryn. I just think he's got so many strings to his bow, such an attackive, dynamic midfielder. He could be anything, so I'm going to land on him.
Yeah,
and I'm rating as well. I think we're doing a rating quickly.
Yep.
Given expectations, I'll give them a 6.5. They still obviously got the wooden spoon. Still, I think they're first in their history. But the second half of the year was enough to definitely lift that rating a lot more than it would have been at the start of the year. I'll give them a 6.5, given they've got a lot of young talent coming through.
Yeah, and just to clear up, we are doing our rating out of 10s based on expectations. So 5 is if they performed exactly what we expected, and then above 5 is, better, below 5 is worse. So if, the team coming last gets a 6.5, don't be like, well, then everyone else has to get above a 6.5. That's not how we're going to operate. And also the young player, we just sort of stipulated anything from 1998 or younger will get the job done. Pilch, how do you see the Kangaroos season, mate?
Yep. So as we've said, expectation was wooden spoon. I think after round 3 or 4, there was a market on Sportsbet saying Kangaroos 0 wins, and it was paying about $2.50. So all that in mind, I actually think they had a very impressive season, and that the fans have a lot to look forward to for next season. As Rowie said, loads of young talent that all improved this year. So I think there's definitely good signs ahead for them. In terms of MVP, I've actually gone Cunnington. Only played, I think, 15 out of the 22 games. But those games that he did play, as Cork knows, as a Supercoach owner, he was absolutely unreal. Probably a career best season for the great man. And then I've given Young Player of the Year and Most Improved to Taryn Thomas. I think he's very underrated now. He, in the latter half of the season, really broke out, and he's pretty much an elite, half forward type player now. So, yeah. And then rating, I've gone 6 out of 10. Might actually be quite stiff, but they did win the wooden spoon. So,
just quietly as well, at the start of the year, they were saying, is this going to be the worst team ever to be in an AFL season? I think at the end of the season, they were saying, is this the best 18th place team that we've ever seen? So the tables turned very quickly for the Kangas, but yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
Gold Coast 8-year stretch are the 8 worst teams.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I feel like people were saying that about Adelaide last year as well. It seems to be a thing
They say it
thrown
every
away.
year.
Yeah, people go very early. It's like in the Premier League when someone loses the first 2 games or win the first 2, they're all of a sudden premiership favourites and stuff. It's like just everyone seems to relax that they'll win or they'll lose eventually. But yeah, it's a tough one with the rating. I probably agree with Pilch that I'm going to go 6 out of 10. But yeah, it's a little bit stiff. I think the fans have a pretty positive outlook for the future, which they might not have been expecting after receiving a wooden spoon. But yeah, I actually don't reckon many of these teams down the bottom are in like the worst situations, which is a bit of a change up as compared to previous years. My BNF is going to Aaron Hall. He was like in the top 20 for my Brownlow. So he just pipped Ben Cunnington actually in the very last game. So Cunners was leading it pretty much most of the way because I know he missed part of the start of the season. But yep, Hall came over the top of him. Young player. It's a bit of a dodgy one, but he actually is born in 1998. I've actually got Jai Simkin winning the young player. I know he's not like a rookie or anything, but yeah.
Didn't know he was born in that year.
Yeah, I'm very shocked. I thought he was like a 1996 maybe, but yeah, it's kind of impressive. And then most improved, I've actually given it to Jack Zeeble. I think the way he adapted to his new role was pretty impressive. I know sometimes people question his impact on the game or his actual like one-on-one defending ability, but to go from being like a contestable midfielder to then struggling as like a third key forward and then settling in a halfback and doing pretty well. I think he did pretty decently. But yeah, shout out to Taryn Thomas. He's like second in my young and most improved categories. Just wasn't warranting an award for me. Don't want to get lipped off by that kid in the comments again about talking Taryn Thomas. So yeah, shout out to Taryn Thomas, great player. But yeah, exciting times, especially the back end of the season for North. They're actually not a bad team to watch. We'll happily watch them on any given day.
It's a miracle! Oh yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.